Today, as Danny's brother Bruce has merged with her house and the appearance of the bizarre seeming Wardens, is it actually possible for Danny to save her brother? Or is he going to need to be sacrificed in order to save the people of Bleakwood? This is The Last Wardens, number 2. Hello there, Comic Clan, and welcome to Comics in the Crossdagger, various YouTubers that you've never heard of. I, of course, am your host for today, Cross, and today I am looking at The Last Wardens number 2, coming from Mad Cave Studios. Super excited to jump into this one, but before we get started, if you have not yet done so, please go on down below and hit that subscribe button to make sure that you don't miss out on any of the amazing future content we've got planned for all of you. And if you can also hit that like button, it really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm and we would really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Also, if you missed a review of The Last Wardens number 1, go ahead and click on the card up in that corner there. That'll make sure that you're all caught up and ready to dive into today's issue. I don't know what that was, the thing going on there, but we're just going to go with it. Also as well, we had the amazing opportunity to sit down with the co-writers and co-creators of The Last Wardens, Elliot, Sperl and Amit, Tishler. We had a great conversation with them that is now up here on the YouTube channel. I'm going to put the link for that down below. We got to sit and talk to them about The Last Wardens, got to sit and talk to them about their background in animation, and got to talk to them about the comic book industry as a whole and just about everything in between. Honestly, it was one of our favourite interviews that we've ever done. We had an absolute blast with them. Amazing guys, really easy to talk to, and we honestly could have kept talking to them for at least another good few hours. So make sure you go down and check that out and support these amazing guys. But let's go on and dive into today's issue if you're all ready for it. Let's do it. The Last Wardens number 2, as I mentioned before, was co-written and co-created by Elliot, Sperl and Amit, Tishler, with artwork from Rui Silveira. Colours are by Francesco, Segala, and lettering from Cvetkovic. Our issue begins pretty much right where issue 1 left off. We see Danny and the Wardens sitting on the ground looking up at the monstrosity above them that used to be both her brother and her house. Unexpectedly, one of the chickens in the area appears to speak up and tells Danny to let the professionals handle this and not to distract them from their job. Danny is still trying to wrap her head around everything that has happened to her today. All she can think about is that she wants to go in there and save her brother Bruce. The Wardens tell her anyone who was still up there is dead. And they tell her to stay out of the way and make their way back inside the building to try and finish off this monstrosity before it can cause any more harm. The chicken then steps forward, still speaking to Danny, and tells her that she needs to get away from here. Her brother's gone and all that is left of him is this Cronenbergian monster, and she should get out of the area before it begins to try and absorb her as well. Danny tells the chicken that she just got Bruce back and there's no way in the world that she's giving up on him now. And against all the advice and warning from the Wardens, Danny begins to climb the monstrosity using all of the equipment, all of the vehicles, everything that it has picked up that is sticking out of its body to make her way to the top bedroom window that is open. She makes her way up there haphazardly and almost falling a few times, but gets inside the building and falls into a flesh-covered nightmare. As Danny falls into the flesh-covered building, she's spotted by Sierra, the warden that has the shadow being attached to her back. Sierra has no time for her right now and tells her she's came in here of her own accord, she is on her own. They have a job to do, just try and not get in the way. Danny, however, has no intention of letting them fulfill that job. She goes pushing through to a part of the house that she's specifically looking for and pulls out a shotgun and shells. Danny arms herself and goes on the hunt for Bruce and finds him half absorbed into a wall. Sarah starts screaming at Danny to blast him, that if she doesn't blast him and end it now, she's going to cost them all their lives. Bruce is also trying to talk to Danny. He can barely say a word, but he's trying to get out the word run and tell her to get away, that he can't hold on any longer and can't hold it back. But while all this back and forth is going on, the rock golem Bricks perches himself and launches himself full force straight towards the flesh pillar that is holding Bruce, and with one swift motion punches straight through it, tearing a hole in the creature. The creature does not like this at all and begins to thrash about with the Wardens and Danny inside. Thankfully, Danny is quick on her feet and she gets the shadow creature, Lila, to open a hole in the floor for them to escape. But since they're high up, they need something to escape in. She gets Bricks to grab a pickup truck that has been lodged inside the creature somehow, that it must have picked up at some point. Everybody piles into the pickup truck, and Bricks, with all of his strength, takes the car and throws it through the hole while holding on to the back of the pickup himself so that he goes along with it. And they soar through the air all the way to the ground, where they manage to somehow land a pickup truck safely without anyone being injured from the fall. Danny realizes that the creature is already starting to make its way downtown. But before she can say a thing, the Wardens dump her out of the pickup and tell her, "This is where we part ways. We're going on without you and we're going to finish this." They take off after the creature, heading towards the town, and Danny is left in the trail of flesh and destruction that has been left in its wake. She's not ready to give up on her brother though, and she grabs a bike out of one of the nearby piles of flesh and bits and pieces that it had picked up, and she begins to cycle after them, ready to try and save her brother again, and ready to fight off the Wardens. But by the time she makes it to the town, it's already too late. The Cronenberg monster has already started to expand and cover most of the town, and all the people that are caught in its wake are already being assimilated, with very few being safe inside buildings. Danny crashes her bike, trying to miss some of the tendrils of the creature in the street. As she tries to pick herself up, she's spotted by her friends Keith and Laurie, who help her to her feet and rush her inside what looks to be a police station. The two police officers that are still there barricade the doors shut and keep them inside. Laurie, Keith and Danny, along with a couple of others, are inside trying to stay safe. But it doesn't remain a safe haven for long, as some of the creature's tendrils start to come in from the roof and start to spread out across the building. They don't have too much longer before it takes over this building as well. Danny tells Laurie to stay with Keith, who's assisting the police officers. She goes to her other friend Mark, who's also inside the station, and asks him to go with her to go and check all the other doors and windows and make sure that they're secure. Mark absolutely refuses, saying that they have no idea what's down that hallway, no idea what's coming through the doors, it's not worth it. But as he argues with both Laurie and Danny about doing it, Mark is impaled through the chest by one of the tendrils and begins to be engulfed and absorbed into the creature while screaming in agony. As the issue comes to a close, the police officers rush to try and help Mark. Danny tries to get Laurie to back away from him so that she isn't absorbed as well. And the Wardens arrive, ready for round 2 against the creature. Honestly, this was a great continuation of the story for the last Wardens. The strengths of this comic continue to be the characters and the mystery. The characters are phenomenal. Danny is legitimately just a very likeable protagonist. You want to root for her. We've seen her hold her own in this ridiculous, bizarre situation that she could never have imagined herself in, and is handling it so strong. And you just want her to succeed. You want to see where she's going to go. You want to see her legitimately find a way to save her brother. She's not intentionally against the Wardens and what they're doing, but she is not giving up on her brother, and you automatically get hyped up for her and want to see her do well. The comic also does a great job with the mystery, because not everything is being given away yet. We're the second issue in, and we're just now starting to see the Wardens' personalities. We started to find out their names. You know, we've still not even officially heard all their names in the comic. Online, they've mentioned pretty much all the names at this point, but in the comic, we still don't technically have everybody's name being mentioned. And Danny, for certain, hasn't learnt them all. But you're also intrigued because who are these people? What are they actually doing? Why are they doing this? What is their driving force? And we still don't even know, like, what happened to Danny's brother? Why has he Cronenberged with the house? Why is this became a creature? Why are they here to kill it? There are so many questions and so much intrigue around this. And it just keeps you fully immersed in it and wanting to be part of it. The story is done so well with the characters and that mystery, and it really wants you to keep coming back to see, okay, what happens next? What's the next step going to be? Beyond that as well, like when we sat down and spoke with Amit, Tishler and Elliot, Sperl, we really got to talk about the comic book industry and entertainment as a whole. Sorry, I hit my glass at the side there. One of the great things that we got to talk about was the way that we consume content now, and the way that we completely take stuff in, whether that's comics, whether it's TV shows, whether it's movies, whether it's whatever. There's so much content being pushed out that people are scared that their story is not going to get told in completion. They're scared to do long-term storytelling. They're scared to do something that's going to be a cliffhanger for a new season or for a new story arc, because if it doesn't get renewed, then your story's left untold and there's a chance it will never be finished. And I can completely understand that. But it also means that we've rushed stuff out and that stories aren't allowed to breathe, and that's one thing that The Last Wardens really does, is it is allowed to breathe and just be in the moment. Amit and Elliot completely talked about that with The Last Wardens, like, they are committed to telling long-term storytelling here. Even though the comic has only been greenlit for 6 issues, it's only been greenlit for this first story arc. They don't want to rush it and try and get this whole story and all this stuff out there, you know, just in case it's not renewed. They would rather commit to telling a great first story arc, and maybe later on at some point we'll get the rest of the story. But they are fully committed to telling it this way, and I have to highly commend them for that. And it definitely helps The Last Wardens stand out. They're fully committed to pulling you back in, that you want to come back, and knowing by the end of this story arc, by the end of these 6 issues, we might not get the answers that we're looking for. Will we be allowed to get them? Will we be allowed to find out more of this world? And I really hope it's something that we do get. I really hope that we get to find out more about it. But as I said, I highly commend them for sticking to their guns with that and not falling to the pressure of we have to rush all our details into these 6 issues. Because I feel like it would have ruined the story and rushed too much in, tried to be too big, too fast, too jam-packed with stuff, and it wouldn't be as good. I also want to take the time to talk about the art in the book as well. Apparently in a Scottish accent you can't say that name quickly. Rui Silveira. Phenomenal art. You really get to experience his creature designs so well in this. Like the Cronenberg house monster, the Wardens himself. We got to see it at the end of the last issue, but in this issue we get to explore it fully. We get to have more of it. We get to experience more of it, and it's phenomenal. He really captures that small town feel of the town, while also capturing this monstrous feel of the creatures and making them feel just a little bit off and even a little bit unsettling in their designs. And then when you mix that with Francesco Segala's colouring for it, he really helps elevate the art to capture that horror style. Those old school horror movies, those grindhouse horror movies where it doesn't feel like a sleek comic, like a polished comic. It feels a bit rough, a bit gritty, a bit, not quite fully, a bit unsettling feeling of like a bit grimy almost like you're looking at everything from a kind of sepia tone-esque where something's just a little bit off about it. But I mean that in the most positive way possible. They have really tried to capture that horror element to it. It's not I wouldn't say it's a full-on horror book, but they've definitely tried to capture that old school grindhouse feel, and I feel like between Silveira and Segala they have done that beautifully in this. It comes across so well. I have to highly commend the artwork. I am fully committed for The Last Wardens. I have loved issue 1 and 2, and I am fully committed for, if we only get 6 issues of this, then I am fully in for that whole story arc. Also, as they teased on the when we talked to them, Amit and Elliot talked about there's going to be more stuff coming. There's a few other things in the works for The Last Wardens, a few other spin-off things, which they never went into details about, but I am here for it. If that spin-off stuff and this 6 issues is all we get, I am completely in on The Last Wardens. I want to see where this story goes. I 100% implore Mad Cave to renew the series, to continue, to get an extension beyond the 6 issues, because I want to see where the storytelling can go. I am fully wanting to see what happens in these 6 issues, what these characters experience and go through, and how this story wraps up. But I want to see where they grow, especially knowing Elliot and Amit's, their commitment to that long-term storytelling and that character development and what they can do and what these characters can go through. I fully want to see what they do with these characters in that setting. I want to get to know the Wardens more in depth as well. They talked about future story arcs focusing on each of the Wardens and their backstory and how they came to be, and like fleshing them out more. And I want that. I fully 100% want that. So I ask, if you are a fan, if this sounds like something that's up your alley and you've not checked it out, please go pick up The Last Wardens. Grab it digitally, go to your local comic store and pick it up. Get some sales behind this book and help us boost this to keep going, because I honestly want to see, seeing their passion for this story and what they've got planned, I really want to see it continue. But yeah, I think that's just about everything I wanted to cover for The Last Wardens today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me while we went through this book. Have you checked it out yet for yourself? Is it something you're interested in? Would you be interested in seeing where they can go beyond this? And what sort of stuff do you want to see from The Last Wardens? Let us know in the comments down below. Also, let us know if there's any other comics that we are not covering that you would love to see us check out and think that we should be picking up. And we would love to hear from all of you and get some discussions down below. Also as well, if you are wanting to be a supporter of Comics in the Cross, we would greatly appreciate it. And we actually have a Patreon where you can subscribe to us for just $2 a month over there and get early access to all of our content, as well as a few extra exclusives over there for Patreon members. But that's it for me for today. Thank you so much, everyone. Hope you have a great day, and remember, it's a good week to be a geek. Take care. We'll see you all soon. Peace.